Hey, what's going on, guys? Just confirm you can hear me. What's going on, Junior, Peter, Gent, Eswar, Brian, Hyper, Brian, ooh, Bryan. I haven't seen that name spelled like that. What's going on, guys? Good to have you here. It's gonna be a great day. And I see all these emojis next to people's names. That's it's a first for me on YouTube. That's interesting. Awesome, appreciate it, Poggers. Good to know you guys can hear me. Gonna give it a couple minutes, then we'll start the stream. Ah, gotcha, Brian. Nice. Good morning, David, Kevin, Core, Victor, Luca, Godwin, Underdog, Aculite. Man, a lot of good people in here. Good to see you guys. What's going on, Viper, Max? And make sure you guys like the live stream if you haven't. It really helps spread the video out to others and spread Gem Hunters to the masses as the #1 group for crypto news. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. So, hope you guys are having a great Monday wherever you're at. A lot has happened in the market over the past week. We'll cover that. We'll cover what's going on this week, what's going on in July, because there's a lot of big updates, guys. So, stay tuned. It's going to be a great video. But, looking at liquidation heat map, 250 million liquidations over the past 24 hours. Shorts being a majority of that at 150 million versus longs at 98 million. So this is a nice change than what we've had in the past. Obviously, most of the times I've talked about this, we've had longs being more liquidated than shorts, or we've had, you know, the $1 billion liquidations that usually marks a local bottom, which I talk about and I post on my X account. But nonetheless, it's good to see that shorts are finally the ones being more liquidated than longs. And so that could be foreshadowing of what's to come and a further bull run in the next month. So we'll talk about that as well. Now, looking at the liquidation heat map. So on the 1 week liquidation heat map, we have some liquidity near 106.2K. In my opinion, this could be cause for a further flush before continuing higher. Okay, if you look at the 24 hour, you can see we have a little bit here on the 24 hour, but then we have a lot near 109.5K. So it would make sense for a flush down to 106 before going back to the upside, you know, a little fake out there. So something I'm watching right there. Now, looking at the crypto news for today. So there's a lot that happened over the past week, so we're going to cover it. So one of the big first things was MasterCard partnering with Chainlink to enable billions of cardholders to purchase crypto directly on chain. So this shows us that you have Web 2 companies now partnering with Web 3 companies to create a synergistic effect to really elevate the current financial system. And that shows that there's really mass adoption going on, because when you have big titans such as MasterCard that are actually partnering with Web3 companies like Chainlink, that shows you where the future is going. That shows you where the financial system is going. And so they're jumping on board because they know they're going to miss this train if not. And so that's just another thing that solidifies mainstream adoption. Also, you have the crypto platform Polymarket. So this is where, for those who don't know, Polymarket, basically it's a betting platform, prediction platform, where you can say, you can bet on if Iran's going to attack Israel or if Powell's going to cut rates. And then there's odds on it and everything like that. So Polymarket is now set to raise $200 million in a funding round led by top venture firm Founders Fund. So just another thing where a lot of these companies are starting to either launch their own token or raise funds or starting to expand because there is capital to do so, because there's so much capital flowing around. Especially if the big beautiful bill gets passed, which I will talk about in a minute. There's going to be a ton of liquidity coming into the market. Also, speaking of Web2 companies, you have Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev saying crypto will replace traditional finance. This guy has been extremely bullish on crypto. And Robinhood really opened the door for no fees as far as when you're trading stocks, right? And then even with crypto, when they started adopting crypto. So they've really been a big proponent and really been outspoken about cryptocurrency and adopting it on a widespread scale. And so this is good to see that, one, they're so tapped in and so adamant about crypto replacing traditional finance. And so this is something that we all know, but it's something that's just being solidified and being confirmed via these big Web2 founders. Also, you have Senator Cynthia Lummis. She is awesome. She's been a big proponent of the Bitcoin SBR, the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. Also, she says Congress is crafting a clear and innovative digital asset market structure legislation. So the biggest complaint that Coinbase and all these other Web3 companies had in the last administration with the SEC was there was no clear regulation, right? Coinbase says Gary Gensler keeps suing us, yet there's no blueprint for what we should be doing. And so now Senator Cynthia Lummis is actually laying out a clear regulation, a clear layout of what these regulations should be, so that companies can see what they need to follow, and versus having, being a lot of gray areas or things that are very unclear. So great on Cynthia for doing this. Awesome. Kudos to her. Now, also, big news item that happened last week was Trump's Truth Social company filed for a Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF with the New York Stock Exchange. This is huge because we already know Trump is very bullish on crypto, but this just solidifies that more, right? When you have his own company, Truth Social, which he's been so outspoken about, especially whenever there's a lot going on with X a couple of years ago. Now you have their company filing for a Bitcoin Ethereum ETF. That shows you that they are ready to go all in with Bitcoin. And if that doesn't show you where the future of crypto is going, I don't know what will. And this isn't even scratching the surface of a few other updates that we have that I want to show you guys. But it shows you that, again, all these Web2 companies, guys, they want a piece of crypto. They see where we're going. And there's actually something I came across yesterday. It was a revelatory moment of why Bitcoin is going to be the global currency for human civilization. I say it that big and I say it that adamantly, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So stay with me. Give me 5 minutes, and then I'll explain why I know that Bitcoin will be the currency of the future. So also you had CZ, bull posting. Obviously he says if you sold the dip, you need to unfollow the weak minds and follow the right people. So CZ is very tapped into the market. He knows what updates are coming. He's very investor minded versus, trade minded versus trading short term. He's very long-term investment minded. So great to see on that front. And then also you have the SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce admits the agency really mishandled Bitcoin exchange traded products. And so this was where, when you had Gary Gensler as the SEC chair last year in the previous administration, they did not know how to handle crypto, right? They were suing everyone left and right. There was no clear regulations. And really, it was like the Wild West, more so than ever, as far as regulations are concerned and how they're handling the Bitcoin exchange traded products. And so now that we have someone who's actually very pro-crypto and is working on legislation, especially like Senator Cynthia Lummis, now you're going to start to have more continuity versus the discontinuity that we had under Gary Gensler. So great to see on that front. And then also we have Backed, who says they may use $1 billion from shelf offering to buy Bitcoin. So they're actually helping more to adopt Bitcoin. And then you even have Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says we're buying more Bitcoin every week. So honestly, they're an ambassador, so they're going to obviously buy more Bitcoin every week. But nonetheless, the fact that he's such a big proponent and such a great ambassador for Coinbase and for crypto just helps spread Bitcoin and crypto to the masses. So great to see on there. He's a great figurehead for it. Love to see it. Then also, we have Ripple with the SEC dropping their appeals and ending their legal battle. So now this is amazing because there was this battle that was going on for who knows how long. How many years was Ripple battling the SEC? Finally, they're coming to some agreement. They're dropping the charges. And so this is great to see. And this is something where I'm very, very bullish for the future. One, of Ripple, but two, just as far as the SEC versus other Web3 companies. So great to see that front. And then also you have Robinhood is to launch tokenized stocks in Europe. So again, more for tokenization, big win for RWA, real world assets. Look for that to continue. And then also you have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying crypto stablecoin legislation could be finalized by mid-July. So remember the crypto stablecoin bill that got passed in the Senate, now went to the House? I believe the House, could be signed by early as July 7th, and then it would send up to Trump's desk. But the stablecoin bill will be extremely bullish for Ethereum. And one of the reasons why is because USDC and USDT are on the ERC20 contract address. That's on the Ethereum network. So what happens if people are constantly transacting on that? One, they're going to have to buy Ethereum for gas fees. Two, what happens when they do that? Ethereum's going to get burned via the EIP 1559 mechanism. And there is going to have your supply shock. Demand for Ethereum is going to increase. Price 5,000. That's literally what's going to happen. And so the crypto stablecoin bill is something that many people are sleeping on. But by the time it gets implemented, let's just say a few months after it gets passed, then you're going to see the effects on Ethereum and towards other cryptocurrencies. So it's only a matter of time, guys. Like, you need to pay attention to some of these things that are being passed because they will have a widespread effect on not only Ethereum, but the total altcoin space. Because when Ethereum pumps, everything else pumps with it. And we'll also talk about Bitcoin dominance, when that's going to top, when altcoin season is going to start. So stay with me, guys. It's going to be a great stream here. But you have that. You also have the Robinhood launching their Ethereum and Solana staking. This is big, right? I mentioned Robinhood is a big proponent of Web3 and crypto adoption. This is just another fact why that's the case. Because now that you can launch Ethereum and Solana staking, when you have normies, quote unquote, who are just investing in stocks, but now, oh, hey, we're providing you, free APY just for staking your Ethereum or Solana. Well, they may buy a little bit of that. And you know that old money has a lot of money. Okay, so if you have the people who are big into stocks, they're going to take some of that, put that in Ethereum and Solana, which is also going to help aid that altcoin season that we're talking about. And so not only that, but also you do have, there was another thing here where you had Rex Osprey Solana ETF featuring staking will commence trading on Wednesday. So this is another reason why, remember I mentioned the reason I long Solana was because the Solana ETF was coming up, because Pump Fund launch was coming up. And now you can see we made over 50% with our Take Profit 3, and Solana is still going up for anyone who's still holding it. And so you need to be able to foreshadow what's going to happen, read between the lines. It's not just black and white. You need to be able to see, the forest. Basically, you need to be able to see the forest for the trees, right? So that's the biggest thing, is you have to be able to look beyond your own, what's in front of you. So that's the biggest thing I would say why I long Solana and the big updates with that. Also, you had Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying he's ready to replace the Fed Chair Jerome Powell if the President Trump wants him to. So this is going to be something that's more of a macro news perspective, but nonetheless, very, very bullish there. And then here you have Senator Cynthia Lummis calling for Congress to end unfair taxes on Bitcoin and crypto. Says for years, miners and stakers have been taxed twice, once they receive block rewards and again when they sell it. It's time to stop this unfair tax treatment and ensure America is the world's Bitcoin and crypto superpower. Guys, imagine if the United States removes taxes for Bitcoin and crypto. Like, for a second, just imagine with me what the future would look like. We already have Dubai, Puerto Rico, right? A lot of these other countries that have done that. If the US does it, you know how much money would go into crypto? Do you know how crazy that would be? Like, that would be a bigger stimulus than COVID. That would be like everyone would start pouring money in because now they're not going to be taxed. Now they can get this 50, 100% per year on no tax. I mean, that's when you're going to see the flight to safety, if you want lack of a better word, from stocks to crypto. You think we're seeing big inflows now? Just wait till that happens. And so this is something I'm still have hope for, especially if Trump, at the very least, he was rumoring to remove taxes on US-based cryptocurrencies. So that's another thing, right? We could start with that and then evolve into no taxes on crypto completely. So keep an eye on that, guys. It's going to be very, very big in the future. And then also, this is more macro news, but US and India to announce a new trade deal very soon. So guys, Trump keeps winning. Trump is opening trade talks with Canada, now the India. Very, very bullish. But I did mention real quick why I thought that Bitcoin would be the currency of human civilization. And so one of the reasons for that is because, and stay with me here, there's a guy called David Sinclair, right? He is a professor at Harvard, and he's very much into longevity and increasing the human lifespan. And he says that they've already made good developments to where the average human lifespan could be extended another 20 to 30 years. And eventually, they could reverse aging completely, which I was thinking, and then they started talking about crypto a little bit after. And I started thinking, okay, if humans could live an extra 20 to 30 years, or they could live indefinitely, an extra 100, 200, 300, thousands of years, right? What currency would be the best that wouldn't be devalued, wouldn't be prone to inflation, that would be the currency for the foreseeable future? And Bitcoin is that answer. Bitcoin would literally be the currency of human civilization. If humans could live for thousands of years, Bitcoin is the only currency that's immutable, transparent, censorship resistant, right? Safe, secure, fast. Like, there's all kinds of benefits for it. And so why wouldn't it be the currency of the future? And that's where we're going as a civilization. One, to increase longevity, but two, to have a currency that's not prone to inflation, devaluation, printing money out of thin air, right? Like, Bitcoin is the answer. And so that's why you have people like Michael Saylor saying Bitcoin's going to be $21 million in 21 years. Because if you have human civilization increasing their lifespan by 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 years, I mean, as crazy as that sounds right now, they're making developments with AI in it. Like, it's happening right now. And so now 20 years down the line, if that actually becomes a reality, guys, Bitcoin is the answer there. Bitcoin is the answer for the currency of the future. And so that made me even more bullish on Bitcoin when I thought about that. And it was like a revelatory moment. Like, Bitcoin is here to stay. And this is exactly why. So just something to ponder on. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know what you guys think about David Sinclair, about longevity, about increasing the lifespan, what you think's possible, what you think's not possible. Curious to see, because I know there's a lot of smart people in here. So curious what you guys think on that. Now, let's go towards the macro news. So a lot has happened from the macro perspective. Obviously, we've had, a lot from the war that's been going on between Israel and Iran, between, other countries. And so let's just go over that real quick and just kind of give you guys a quick summary of what happened over the past week. So obviously, Israel and Iran had ceasefire, but then shortly after, Israel broke that ceasefire and started attacking Iran. And then Trump ordered Israel to stop violating the ceasefire. And he says, Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do, it's a major violation. Bring your pilots home now. So that was another big thing. And then Trump actually had an explicitive here on the news when they were interviewing him, asking what he thought about it. And he says, Israel and Iran don't know what the F they're doing. And he said that, literally. He said that in the news. And so that shows you how frustrated he was with Israel and Iran and how they're breaking their ceasefire. And, he's basically saying they didn't know why they're even attacking each other. So it was a whole BS that was going on. And so at least I think when they saw this, they knew that Trump was pissed and they knew they better quit. Otherwise, there's going to be some bad things that are going to happen. So that's very good to see there. And then, so I think that eventually things started calming down with that. And then now, you have a little bit better things going on with that. And then also you had Trump inviting the B-2 pilots to the White House and saying they struck targets half the size of a refrigerator door from 50,000 feet up in the air. So great to see on that front. Again, U.S. military, the strongest in the world. And Trump is just, one, complimenting them on that and also recognizing them. So great to see on that front. And also something else is the U.S. has resumed trade talks with Canada, which is very, very bullish because originally they stopped it, caused some volatility in the market. Now they're resuming trade talks. Now they also have the one great big beautiful bill, and Trump said it's moving along nicely. So for anyone who doesn't know what this one great big beautiful bill is, well, long story short, it's going to maintain tax cuts on the middle class, and it's going to inject a ton of liquidity into the market. So if you thought there was a lot of money coming through now, once this bill gets passed, which he is aiming for July 4th, that's really when you're going to start seeing things come to fruition. So keep an eye on that. It's going to be a lot of bullishness with that. Now, the only thing, because I know you guys have seen Elon Musk talk, basically say that this bill is going to cause a recession, etc. There is some parts of the bill that's basically tailored to AI and basically lower some of the guardrails on AI. And Elon is very concerned about that. He's concerned that, if you're lowering the guardrails on AI, you're not as strict on it, there's going to cause some problems because Elon is a very big proponent of AI security and controlling it, right? So when you have Trump really removing the guardrails from AI, and even there's some deals being made with OpenAI, and Elon has historically been a opponent of OpenAI because he invested in it early on the premise that they would be a not-for-profit company, open source, and then they actually ended up being a closed source company for profit. And so they did everything Elon was against. And so now you have Trump working with OpenAI, with Elon is getting a little hurt from that. Also, Trump opening AI to the masses, which Elon is also against. And so you can see why Elon is so against this bill. And so I get it, right? At the end of the day, it's good for the markets if this bill passes. Down the line, we're going to see what happens. Curious from some of the smart people in here, what do you think is going to happen with the big, beautiful bill? Curious what you guys think of that as well. So watching that closely. And then, yeah, we already talked about a few of other of the news items. You know, a couple of those being that Scott Bessent says he was replaced Jerome Powell if needed. And so it says Bessent says he's ready to replace Fed Chair Jerome Powell if President Trump wants him to. Because there's been a lot of talks of Jerome Powell and why he hasn't cut interest rates yet. And so JD Vance asked him about it. A few other people asked him about it. So that's why I'm thinking he is getting pressured to drop interest rates. And again, that decision won't happen until July 30th. But maybe Powell's going to announce something, because I know there is a talk he's going to have in the near future, if he hasn't already had it, of if he's going to cut interest rates and what the outlook is. So keep an eye on that as well. But let's go ahead and before we go over the S&P, gold, oil, and DXY, let's go ahead and look at the chat and see what you guys have said. Again, if you guys haven't liked the video, definitely like it. I would really appreciate it, guys. Helps out the channel a lot and helps spread us gem hunters to the masses. So let's see what's going on here. Oh, Brian says, what you grubbing on? So I was grubbing on this Prima bar. This is Prima protein bar. It's like this ancestral bar. Search it on, you can search on Google, Prima. Just search Prima ancestral protein bar. It's like organic everything, grass-fed beef, super healthy. Raw honey, organic raw honey, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's a good bar. Yeah, people hear me snacking. Let's see. Max says, hey, also first heard Sol and staking ETF is coming soon. Super bullish for Sol and Sol memes. Yes, Max. Very, very bullish, especially with the Pump Fund launch coming up. Ivuka says, thank you for your time. God bless. Hey, God bless you as well. Thank you so much. Says, what do you offer to have an eye on this in this July coming bull market? Yeah, I explained a lot of my thoughts on that. I'm bullish on July, though. Very bullish on July. Eswar says, hey, CryptoData, I hope you're doing well. So my question is, before you long or short any coin, how do you select the range for them? Like, is there any logic or concept? Yeah, I look for the daily support levels, the daily or weekly support levels or resistance, and then I look at where my indicators are at, if they're oversold or overbought, and then I look for confluence from that, and then from there along. So, yeah, basically the FVG theory, so fair value gap. Max says, hey, CD, my X is being flooded by Aura Post. Do you think this is a good buy, and can we go through TA? I think 0.909 is a strong entry. Yeah, we'll go over Aura in a minute. Remind me again in about 10 minutes, and then I'll go over it. Eric says, FOMO's up 2x, 10 mil plus soon. Yeah, FOMO's doing awesome right now. Love to see it. Eswar says, also, why is Sol pump 5% in a single hour? Is it because of Sol ETF or something we don't know? Yeah, Sol ETF, Eswar. And the staking, exactly. Let's see. Oh, Habuki says, this is good. A bit late, but we're here. Eric, it got announced and it will open this Wednesday. Yep. Gangster Paradise. Please say about Arbro. Oh, yeah, Arbitrum, Gangster. So Robinhood, I believe, is going to run their stuff on the Arbitrum network. They're doing some integration with Arbitrum, I believe. At least that's the rumor. So that's why Arbitrum was pumping. XWO, hey, John, hope you have a great day. Could you look at Pepe, please? Yeah, so I'll look at Aura, I'll look at Pepe. Remind me about 10 minutes, I'll look at those. Mahidi, hey, John, good evening. What do you think about Doge? Doge, not that good, honestly. Support's near 15 cents, resistance near 18 and 20 cents. Azah, CryptoData, thoughts on BTC, bull flag forming, stock RSI oversold daily, waiting a bit more pullback, Fibonacci, plus 50 EMA, planning to long. Yeah, I'll look at that bull flag actually in a minute as well. So BTC, Pepe, and Aura. Eswar, which coin do you think is going to have the highest ROI this bull run? I think Hype is going to make a big contender for that. AB, so what are the biggest dates in July? July 7th, the House may pass the crypto stablecoin bill. July 4th, big beautiful bill may get passed. And then July 30th, FOMC interest rate cuts. AJ, market guys just sent E to 10K. Yeah, right? Azah, love what you're doing. Also, how do you decide if you're entry level to make the best sniper entry as possible? I'm stuck at validating price action, like wanting to hold important key level, but can't enter. So honestly, I just wait for it to hit the daily support while the indicators are oversold. And if it doesn't do that, so be it. But I look for confluence at the very least. There's always opportunity, so if you miss it, there's always other coins, right? Junior says, I don't think it'll be possible to expand the human life. Interesting. David Sinclair is super smart in the biohacking longevity space. Also, Brian Johnson and Gary Brecker are super advanced in this field. Really worth checking their protocols out. Hey, David, good to see you again. Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, David Sinclair is smart. And then, yeah, Brian Johnson, he wants to live forever as well. So I can see those guys working together. And Gary Brecker with prior 10x Health now, I think is Ultimate Human is his company now. But, yeah, all those guys, very awesome in the health space. They really want to help. I would say this, guys. So really quick, going on a little tangent here about health, because everyone should be focused on their health, is one, sleep is the most important, first and foremost. 7 to 8 hours plus per night, no negotiations. Stop looking at your phone 30 minutes prior so you can get a deep REM sleep. But also, exercise helps the most with longevity. And then also staying away from bad food. So eating all organic, staying away from seed oils, drinking spring water, staying away from the tap water or reverse osmosis water. You know, drinking reverse osmosis or spring water from glass bottles. And then yeah, getting your sleep, exercise, and that's probably something, yeah, some of the best things you can do, honestly. And that'll increase your health longevity at least 5-10 years. SWAR, I think it's best to long solo at 147, like aligns with the 4-hour video you make. Could be. We'll go over Solana too. See, Eric says bullish July, as you said. Junior says Elon is just emotional. Agree with that. SWAR, Sui's holding a trendline support. I'll look at Sui. Bayo edits. What do you think about Luke? Belmar saying Pepe looks bullish. Yeah, we'll check Pepe out and see. I mean, Pepe's probably one of the best ETH betas. Steven, any other news about the war recently, or have we cooled off? I think we've cooled off, Steven, but honestly, I haven't kept too much on it over the past few days. See, Digital Stoic says those are fire. Awesome. Vian, can you talk about... Yep, I'll talk about Pepe too. What do you think about SPX? Yep, we'll talk about it. Super bullish on Aura. I'll talk about stocks on the watch list. Reminding you to go through Aura as mentioned. Let's see what's going on. Yep, hyperinflation. Hyperinflation could happen in 2028 to 2030. We're going to have to check that out. But this will be super bullish for BTC and Alt, in my opinion. Yeah, the flight to safety from stocks to Bitcoin as digital gold or a hedge against inflation. And I'll look at Kita as well. And then Quizmonk says, guys, can everyone recommend Andrew Huberman for insane knowledge about body, etc.? Yeah, Andrew Huberman's good too. So you have Andrew Huberman, Gary Brecka, Brian Johnson, and David Sinclair. All good guys in health. You should definitely watch. You can take something good from each of them. So let's go over the different stocks here. So we got the S&P. So S&P is at 6184. Amazing pump to all-time highs. For anyone who was watching this last week during our last market update, we were talking about how the RSI was very, very bullish, right? We're talking about it was breaking this trend line resistance, it was breaking this horizontal resistance, and it was going to go higher. And what happened? We went higher. So guys, like, these weekly market overviews are very, very beneficial if you actually watch the whole thing, right? These weekly market overviews are an hour long. If you can afford to listen to them even while you're at work, put an earbud in, listen to me while you're at work, and then you can still get a lot of beneficial information. And I try to make this audio friendly as well so that you guys can hear everything. But yeah, so S&P is looking good. The only thing I would say is, I mean, since we made all-time highs, obviously there's some type of bearish divergence forming. So we could end up pulling back to 6,100 or 6,000, that psychological level. So that's what I would be watching next. So keep an eye on that. And then gold. So gold is another one where it is, you know, has been doing fairly well. Now it's pulling back a little bit. Obviously, people are getting more into risk-on assets. So that's why gold didn't make an all-time high when the S&P made an all-time high. But nonetheless, gold is good to have in your portfolio, in my opinion. Right now, it's around 3,300. The RSI looks to be curving back to the upside. You're going to have big resistance near 3,340 and then 3,450 near its all-time high. So keep an eye on those two levels. Support's going to be 3,200 and then 3,100. So big support there. Look to buy there. But the RSI does look good. Almost reset there as well. And then oil futures. So you have oil futures right now, but at 65. You can see the big pullback we had after those war tensions started easing, right? And so that is good to see. And as long as oil futures can stay between 60 and 70, in my opinion, that's a healthy level. Still gives people room for profits while still keeping, you know, the risk of inflation low and the risk of low transportation costs as well. So also you have oil, you know, hovering between this. So I do think that it is very healthy and hopefully we stay there for the foreseeable future. And then you have the dollar. So the dollar has been very weak, right? The DXY has been consistently declining. And that's good for Bitcoin because Bitcoin's usually inversely correlated to the DXY. I would say about 60-70% of the time. It's been a little less correlated recently. That's why I say 60-70%. But nonetheless, good to see. Now, what I will say here is there's major support near 95, but look at the RSI on the weekly. It is starting to get oversold. What happened last time it was oversold? Well, that was in August of 2024. Then we had a bounce, a little more drop, and then we had a further bounce there. So what was Bitcoin doing during this time? I think Bitcoin was still slowly rising, also chopping, but still eventually rising. So I don't think that's a horrible thing, but we may see a little bit of retracement in Bitcoin because of this whenever we have this bounce. So just keep that in mind. Now, let's go over the overall markets. All right, Bitcoin's at 107.3K. Ethereum's at 2490. Look at Ethereum. It's continuing to outperform Bitcoin. This is what you want to see before the breakout, guys. We did have a daily close above 2470 on Ethereum, which I will talk about in a minute. Very, very bullish. And so that's something I'm looking forward to for the foreseeable future, is just Ethereum being, how bullish it is, and eventually starting that alt season. So it's really good there. Sorry, I had to stretch a little bit. So it is really good there. Now, looking at the top gainers today, Hyperliquid, I mentioned SWAR. It's probably one of my long-term picks, 6.1% today. I always mention in the market updates to bet on strength, and Hyperliquid has been one of the strongest tokens because they use their fees that they make from liquidations, from trading, and they buy back the token. So it's like this flywheel that consistently happens. And so if you have a big liquidation event, Hype is going to go up because they're using all that liquidation money to buy Hype, right? It's a flywheel, guys. So that's why Hype has been so good. Great team. Bitcoin Cash, it's a proxy on Bitcoin, 5.3%. Polygon, I guess trying to come back from the dead, 4.7%. Not sure what they're doing with Polygon. Solana, again, 3.2%, one of the top gainers. We were in Solana since 138. If you guys were in that in the Gym Hunters, then you would have been there. If you want to join Gym Hunters, if you aren't in it, the description, they have a link in the description for the free group. We also have a link to the premium group in the description where it's going to be 1 ETH for a year, and you're going to get more DGen calls, more meme coin calls, Gym Alpha calls, leverage calls, 24/7 concierge service, more Gym reports, access to Gym Hunters live streams, more Gym Hunters, etc. So a lot of benefits to that. Now, the Pepe has actually been doing pretty good as well, up 2.4%. I know people are saying Luke was saying this was a good one, so we'll look at Pepe as well. Obviously, it's the best ETH beta, so if Ethereum does good, Pepe's going to do very, very good. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. And then also, for TVL, total value locked. This shows you where retail is shifting their money, if it's on-chain or off-chain. Ethereum, still on-chain, 8.6%, but look at Solana here. Solana has regained mind share. 1.83% versus yesterday, and then 12% versus last week. And so Solana is doing very good because the staking we just talked about, the ETF, and the pump fund launch coming up. So a lot of bullish catalyst here for Solana. Also, you have Tron increasing a little bit because that CSI 888 token that was backed by James Nguyen. There's a couple big people behind that, and if everything comes to fruition, that token could do really well. So keep an eye on that. And then also you have Hyperliquid, obviously. Usually TVL is high on that because they're getting so much money from fees and everything. And then AVAX even. There was some more attention on AVAX from the Summit token, from Lambo, FOMO, and a few others. So keep that in mind. AVAX could be pretty good as well down the line. We'll see if that ends up breaking out in the near future. But, with GameFi kind of not as hyped right now, AVAX has been taking a hit. So we'll see if it bounces soon. Now looking at the Fear and Greed Index, at 52 on neutral. So I always talk about this. Anytime it gets in that fear, I say, guys, look to buy. It's going to be some good opportunities. When it got into this 37 level, what happened? It bounced perfectly, right? So that's what you want to look for, is whenever you get into fear, then that's when you have, even just looking here, right? When we dropped just a few days ago into that 37 area, we had a nice bounce because everyone was scared, and that's what you want to see. You want to see that good balance and then continuing higher from here. So once we get into the greed area, that's going to be a ton of money flowing in, because when people get greedy, what do? They over leverage, right? They over invest. They get that euphoria. And so that's when you start making your higher highs. So keep that in mind. Watch that closely. And then also seasonality wise. So I always talk about seasonality every stream. And versus 2020, we're doing really good. We're even having a green June versus the red June that we had in 2020. So now we could be playing the 2017 playbook here, where in the summer it was all green, right? I do still believe July will be one of the most bullish months. For anyone who didn't see my post on X, if you're not following me at the CryptoData, definitely do so. I have a lot of good content that I post for you guys. Also, you can see that I posted a big thread here about why July will be the most bullish months. One, I talked about seasonality. July is one of the most bullish months behind October. Also, I talked about crypto czar David Sachs recently stating July will be a big month. This was a big one, actually. I didn't go over this in the crypto news, but this was a big one. When you have David Sachs, who is the head of crypto in the Trump administration, saying July will be a big month, guys, that shows you the market's about to pump. right? Literally, Trump is telegraphing it, and his crypto admin is telegraphing that July is going to be a big month. Why would you not start buying? So a lot of big stuff coming up. This is all contingent on the big, beautiful bill getting passed, the crypto stablecoin bill getting passed, and I'd probably say those two things. If the interest rates don't get cut, that's fine. But the first two things I mentioned, if those happen, market's going to absolutely send. Also, you have the White House official revealing their intent of creating an accumulation plan to buy Bitcoin for the SBR. So this was another big thing where you had the White House official honestly saying that, one, they have an accumulation plan, which, remember, whenever Trump first signed an executive order for the SBR, they were just signing it for holding the seized assets from Silk Road. But there was a clause in there that said they would support buying more Bitcoin if supported a delta neutral strategy. Well, that could be from tariff savings, from gold certificates, or anything else. And so now, if their intent is creating an accumulation plan to buy more Bitcoin, they see the writing on the wall. They see that Bitcoin will be the global financial asset of the future, system. Then that's going to show you how many people are going to buy it. So when the United States starts buying more Bitcoin for their SBR, it's going to create a FOMO effect between other nations, states, other countries, other institutions, and then you'll really start to see everything flowing in. So keep an eye on that. And I talked about the stablecoin bill expected to pass as early as July 7th. And I talked about potential rate cuts, which, again, we wouldn't see this until July 30th, so a little bit towards the end. But the M2 money supply is continuing to make all-time highs. This is very bullish, guys. So Bitcoin lags us by 108 days. It started on May 2nd, which means it should end by July or beginning of August. So it still tells you there's a lot more room to run for Bitcoin. Michael Saylor and Metaplanet, they've been buying Bitcoin monthly, so they're TWAPing it. And then ETH ETF flows and TVL continue to rise with the ETH staking ETF on the horizon. Again, more pumps for altcoin season. And then the Solana ETF. When I posted this, I said it was inspected within the next 2 to 4 weeks. Little did I know it would happen in 2 days, so they would announce the staking, right? So that goes to show you guys, pay attention to these posts I have. Very bullish. And then the pump fund launch expecting as well. If the pump fund launch happens, it'd be very, very bullish. Also, notice there's only 37 likes, guys. Please like the live stream. It helps a lot. Helps spread the videos to the masses. Helps me continuing to provide these live streams for free. So if you could like the video, it helps so much. But yeah, there's a lot of good posts here, guys. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about ETF flows. So ETF flows for Bitcoin have been very bullish. Large amount of ETF flows. 350 million, 588, 547, 226, 501. Institutions are still buying Bitcoin despite the higher prices. That shows you they know where it's going. Ethereum, still been doing pretty good, all things considered. They had outflows on Thursday, negative 26 million, but then they had a bounce back of high inflows at 77 million the day after on Friday. So that shows you that institutions are still interested in Ethereum, and it wasn't just a fluke, the high inflows that we had prior. So what I would like to see is 9-figure inflows, hundreds of million plus, and then that would show us there's even more demand, and that would really aid the argument that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin in the near future. But for Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin, what do we need? We need alt season. What do we need for alt season? We need Bitcoin dominance to top. How does Bitcoin dominance top? It tops whenever quantitative tightening ends. How does quantitative tightening end? It ends when interest rates are cut. Full stop. So when interest rates are cut, quantitative tightening is going to end. QE is going to start. Quantitative easing. The money printer is going to turn on. Bitcoin dominance is going to top. Risk on fully for everyone. So that's when Ethereum is going to start outperforming. ETH BTC is going to start outperforming. And then at that point, you're going to have altcoin season like you've never seen before. So yes, it may not be like we're used to seeing as far as, all the top 1,000 coins pumping, but you're going to see the top 100 coins pumping fairly, a lot. So, it's going to be a great time for the markets. And so keep that in mind, guys. The big domino that's going to cause all this is going to be interest rate cuts. Keep an eye on that. But you're also going to see stuff in the big, beautiful bill and also the crypto stablecoin bill that's going to help that as well. All right. Let's go towards some TA, and then I will answer the questions. We're going to go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Pepe, Aura, and I believe there's one more as well. So, Bitcoin, 107.1K. Now, I'm seeing a trend line here, just looking at this. I don't like this trend line here. I want to see Bitcoin break above this trend line, okay? So we'll have to see what happens with this. But yeah, the stock RSI is curving to the downside. Bitcoin had a nice little retracement here. And so what I want to see is a balance from 106.4 and break this trend line at about 108. Now, I mentioned there's liquidity near 109. So it does kind of line up with that and then rejecting. So we may have a little more downside, unfortunately. But support's going to be 106.5, and then big support's going to be 104.8. 104.8 is going to coincide with the 200 SMA on the daily and the 50 EMA as well. So keep an eye on those. But like I said, the stock RSI is overbought. Look for a little more downside here. Resistance after this 109 is going to be 110 and then 112. So look for some big resistance near there. Now after that, looking at Ethereum. So Ethereum, very bullish. Like I said, we closed the daily above the daily 200 EMA and the horizontal resistance. So very bullish. Guys, I mentioned if you can long Ethereum here in your 2470, it's going to be a very good long. Like I'm thinking of calling a long here, like full transparency. I'm thinking of calling a long here fairly soon. So if you guys want to front run me, go ahead. But Ethereum long right here would take profits near, I would say 25.45, 26.05, and then 26.70. Like these would be my 3 take profit levels if I made a long on Ethereum. So I'm strongly debating that. Strongly debating that, guys. So I think Ethereum could be a good long here with these take profit levels. So keep that in mind. But the only thing I don't like is the stock RSI getting overbought. So right here, if the stock RSI is overbought, then obviously that'd be a pullback. But we've seen what happens in the past. Whenever the stock RSI does get overbought, we have a little pullback, but then much higher. Even here, you can see how long the stock RSI was overbought when Ethereum just sent, right? So it can stay overbought for extended periods of time, but I do think that an Ethereum long would pay out pretty good here. And I'm probably going to call one soon. So yeah, so Ethereum's looking really good here. If it can close the second daily candle above, then I'll definitely call the long. Besides that, let's see, resistance levels, I already mentioned them, but I'll be targeting 2680 as my final TP point. And then support, if we do close the daily above 24 or below 2470, I'd be looking for the very minimum 2420. Also, if you guys want to take a long right now, I would have your stop loss at about 2415. So 2 to 3% stop loss. So 5x to 10x leverage. But yeah, that would be my thing. And then, yeah, so I'd look for the next support around 2420. And then below that, 2370 would be the next spot where I would long. So those are the areas I'll look for there. Now going over Solana. Well, let's go over Hype since I'm already on it. So Hyperliquid, very bullish. If you're in a long right now or in spot, I'll look to take some profits near $42. If you want to be an aggressive or trying to get a long, $39 would be good. And then 35 to 36 would be a great long opportunity. And then if you can get near 31 to 32, another great long opportunity. So good spots for Hype. Looks good as far as from an indicator perspective. Stock RSI, not overbought yet. RSI still curving to the upside. Still looks bullish to me. And then also, we were talking about Solana, so let's go over that. Also, please like the stream if you guys like it. 51 likes so far. I'd like to get that up to 100 if we can, guys. Please just like the video. It'd be so awesome. All right, looking for Solana. So Solana's getting overbought right now. So, yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you see we rejected off 160, which is the daily 200 EMA. Now, for us in the long, we took profits at 153 because, as you can see, this is resistance, right? So that's why I took profits there. For anyone who's still holding Solana, you could look to take profits if it closes the daily below 153. That may signal a shift in the trend and maybe further downside. But if not, then 160 is a good TP level and 165 is another good TP level because it's good, big resistance, right? So that's what I would look at for Solana. 165 would probably be my final target. But yeah, the RSI, stock RSI is overbought, so probably a little more room to the downside from there. Now, people were asking me about Pepe. Let's go over and look at Pepe. So here, let's see. This is a big resistance area. All right. So Pepe rejected perfectly off this 104.09 level, right? Perfect rejection here. I mean, you couldn't have written that any better. Now, for a long, I would wait until the 9.2 level, honestly. Like, if I'm looking here at previous longs, I would say, let's see. All right, here we go. Let's create a range here. Because Pepe is kind of in the middle here. So if we can create a range, let me get the rectangle on. All right. So if you can get a long for Pepe between 8.8 to 9.2, if you can place some DCA orders between 8.8 to 9.2, that's going to be a good long area. And then take profits around 104. That'd be a great take profit level. So because you can see here, it's kind of, you know, there's a lot of like fair value gap if you want, as Eswar was saying. So yeah, between these levels, 8.8 to 9.2 for Pepe would be a good long because the stock RSI is starting to get overbought. So I'm seeing a common theme here, and I'm sure you guys are too. The stock RSI is overbought in a lot of different coins. And so what that has me believe is we may have a little short-term pullback here in most tokens, maybe until July, like until July 3rd or something. And then from there, we just rip afterwards, after the big beautiful bill gets passed. That is my theory right now, just looking at everything. So yeah, I would wait to buy. I would not rush to buy right now. If we pump, we pump. But I'd probably look to buy like July 3rd or so once we bottom out. So that's for that. And then someone was asking about Aura as well. So I'll go ahead and look at Aura. Let's see. All right. So looking at the daily. Ooh. So it is very close to breaking down. With that said, it's very close to support as well. So, all right. And then... All right, here we go. So, and let me take these grid lines off. And then let's pull up the RSI. All right, so the daily RSI is reset at 50, not too bad. I would say if you can buy it near 95 mil, that may not be a bad area. We'll take profit around 112 mil and then 134 mil. You know, it's starting to bottom out. Looking at the 4 hour, 4 hours reset at 50, nothing crazy there. If the 4 hour gets oversold, that's when I'd really start to stack in. But as you can see here, I mean, it's close to support, even on the daily. Like, if we fail 95 mil, if it closes below 95 mil, it's probably going to fall off a cliff down to 62. So you could have your stop loss as a daily close, like, if you want to be aggressive, or not, yeah, aggressive with it, 87 mil. If you want to be conservative, you could place a stop loss at 91. So, yeah, I would say 87 mil would be more of a more aggressive stop loss at that point. Or I guess conservative stop loss would be 87 mil because you're leaving more room. But yeah, that would be my area. If I enter at 95, my stop would be at 87. So maybe a 10% risk to try to make a 15% upside. So that's what I'd be watching for Aura. All right, now let's go to the upcoming events, and then I'll answer some questions. So, Token 2049 in Singapore is happening October 1st to the 2nd. Hopefully, you guys are going to be there. I'll be at a lot of the side events, so if you guys are going to be there, let's hang out, or I may see you. And then also we have, what else? The FOMC meeting is going to be July 30th. And so interest rate cut decision is going to be then. Also, we have the big beautiful bill. Trump wants to pass that by July 4th, and we have the crypto stablecoin bill, which is expected could pass in the House as soon as July 7th. So a lot of big dates, guys, a lot of big things happening. So keep that in mind. July is going to be a big month. But with that, again, just want to echo this. If you guys aren't following me at the CryptoData, definitely follow me. Also follow the Jim Hunters account at Jim Hunters CO. We provide a lot of good data, so it helps out a lot. Now let's go ahead and answer some of these questions. See what you guys got. All right. Cool. So I went over Aura, went over SPX, went over Pepe. Dreamer says, what stocks are on your watch list? So Dreamer, I would say Tesla, Nvidia, Meta. Tesla, Nvidia, Meta, and then maybe Amazon. Tesla, Nvidia, Meta, Amazon, and then probably Coin for Coinbase, and maybe Circle. I know Circle had their IPO and that stock went up like crazy. So yeah, maybe those probably on my watch list. And then of course Strategy. I mean MicroStrategy. You know, you can have those. So yeah, those are probably my main ones. And also quantum stocks. I think people are sleeping on quantum stocks, so make sure you guys look at those as well. Let's see. Oh yeah, Peter asked about Kita. Let's go over Kita real quick. So, all right, so Kita was one that had an insane run. I know some of the guys behind that, and it was doing very, very well. As far as the chart is concerned, here's where we're at with Kita right now. So Kita is near support at 62 cents. So buying here isn't a bad spot. And then if you can get it near 37, 38 cents, that would be almost a generational entry there. So Kita's looking very good as far as support is concerned. So keep an eye on that. And then also if you want to be a little bit more aggressive with your entry, there's some micro support here near 53 cents. So this could also be a good bounce level. So 62, 53, and 37 for Kita. AB says, will all coins perform good in July? What about Bitcoin dominance? Yeah, I think Bitcoin dominance will most likely top out in July. And all coins should perform well, yes. Niraj says, ETH about to break out. Very, very possible, Niraj. If we get the daily close above 2470, I'll make a long call on ETH and Gem Hunters. Eswar, also, what are your plans after this bull run? Like, what is your source to make money or something that you would recommend based on this year's trends? Yeah, so there's a couple ways. I mean, obviously, I make money off referrals, right? Off just like trading bots, leverage trades, all that. But once the bull... I don't know if the bull market's going to end, honestly. I know a lot of people saying this is their last cycle. A lot of big influencers. Even I was saying it was my last cycle. But now just seeing all the developments, I think we may have an extended bull run. And it's starting, it was taboo to think that. Now it's starting to become more accepted. Granted, you know, I'm not going to basically hold everything to see what happens. I'm still going to take some profits in Q4 and then into Q1 2026. But all that to say is I think it's possible that we extend this bull run with everything going on from the adoption, Bitcoin with their SBR and creating an accumulation plan to other countries and nation states and other institutions buying, to other ETFs, to everything. Like, mass adoption is happening. Web 2 companies are starting to adopt Web 3 ideologies. They're starting to partner up with Web 3 companies. Like, you're having this full-on integration where we're having a complete rewiring of the global financial system, taking out from the archaic financial system that we have currently to now being a more transparent, censorship persistent, immutable financial system of Web 3 and Bitcoin. So it's very easy to say that I think that we're going to continue to accelerate at a very fast pace, and crypto is going to be at the forefront of that. So all that to say, like, if we do have a top, real estate is going to be a big one. Investing in real estate, investing in commodities, gold, silver, etc., other currencies. What else? E-com is a big one, right? E-commerce is always big. I know Luke talks about that, whether it's drop shipping, whether it's creating your own ad agency, anything in between. But AI, guys, like, you can take advantage with AI. You can create your own business with AI in less than a day. Like, there's so many tools right now for AI. I would say if you guys can learn how to use AI, you're going to be ahead of 99% of people in the world. And I'm not even exaggerating with that. Most people are only using ChatGPT and they're thinking they're all that. Guys, ChatGPT is surface level. Everyone knows how to use ChatGPT. Dive into the actual AI models that are showing you how you can actually talk with people with an AI, and that AI will sound like a person, and you can schedule meetings. You can actually help with customer service. Like, AI is expanding so much further than people can conceptualize. It is the future. It is a new frontier, and please, please learn how to use it or you'll get left behind, guaranteed, especially in your job. If you can utilize AI in your job and be more productive, if you can be as productive as 10 people in your job, think how valuable you're going to be, right? So just have that as food for thought. I think that the market's going to go on longer than people think, but at the same time, there's all kinds of opportunities with AI, e-commerce, real estate, etc. that the way to make money is just endless now. You have millionaires who are 15, 16 years old. So there's no reason why everyone here shouldn't be a millionaire in the next 5 to 10 years. No reason, guys. Ivuka says, where's the safest place to hold your Bitcoin? I would say a Trezor. Cold storage wallet for a Trezor. That's probably one of the safest. Junior says, what's the best entry price for SPX? Let's look at SPX. We got about 5 minutes left in the stream, guys. So let's hurry up and get these questions answered. For SPX, let's see. Okay. All right. So for SPX, the best entry for that, I mean, you could say 113 is good, and then around $1. So 113 and $1 would be good. That's where I would start to enter SPX. And then to take profit would be around 134 and 163. All right. John says, hey, JL, great Monday for me. Hope the same goes for you. Any opinion why ETH's not doing much? Thank you. Yeah, John. So I mean, ETH is still performing fairly well today. I think the reason it wasn't doing so hot was because, I mean, you had other coins taking the spotlight, right? I mean, AVAX chain was getting big. You had Tron getting big. You had Solana now. Attention's on Solana. So now you're seeing that transfer. I think a lot of people were front running the Solana ETF news, honestly, myself included, with that ETH long at 138. And so that's why attention was flowing away from ETH. I do think, though, again, once the stablecoin bill's passed, once the big beautiful bill is passed, we're going to see more attention shift towards Ethereum. And then you're going to start to see the outperformance of ETH BTC versus Bitcoin. So yeah, it's just a matter of time now. But yeah, I think it was just other alts were gaining the spotlight. S4 says, also, do you do options on crypto? I mean, I think they're way too risky. Yeah, it's like using Deribit as an options platform on crypto. I don't. It is very, very risky. I wouldn't recommend anyone doing it. At the very most, leverage trade on BloFin with 5x leverage. if you're going to trade by yourself, isolated margin, so you're just risking whatever you invest, not your entire wallet, then that would be my biggest advice there. Bayo Edit says, is now the time to hop in ETH? Now's not a bad time, yes. Hydem, is it a good to hold a long-term portfolio or just trade with invalidation? No, I think it's good for both, right? I think it's good to hold Bitcoin long-term, and then, let's see, maybe Hype. Bitcoin and Hype long-term would be like my safest picks. Peter says, SPX entry 126, not sure if it's the best entry though. Yeah, I just mentioned the long entries for Hype there, around 113 if you can get it. And then, let's see. SWAR, also there's news about Powell telling banks to ease out on leverage and to make more risks on crypto by Reuters June 26th. Interesting. AB says, last week you said Bitcoin should be in the red in August and maybe September. Will it be the same for altcoins? Appreciate the streams. Hey, no problem, AB. Appreciate the compliment. Yeah, it's possible. I'm still expecting that August, September. But again, if the Fed cuts rates on July 30th, that's going to change things completely. And at that point, I mean, who knows what could happen, right? I mean, if we're following 2017 playbook for the summer, then let me hold on here. If we follow the 2017 playbook, I mean, heck, June, July, August were green, right? And then you had red September and then a green Q4. We could very well have this playbook, very well have this, where August is green and then August is green like crazy because of interest rate cuts. And then September is red, and then October, maybe another interest rate cut in between, and then we just absolutely send. This is very possible. So, yeah, it's very possible that we have that. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Let's see. Let me take another drink of water real quick. Then I'll hurry up and answer the rest of these questions before we end the stream. Eswar says, welcome to July. I hope our bag's pumped. Good luck, Crypto Bros. Hey, yeah, good luck, guys. July should be good. Gangster Bros says, bro, how much ARB price will go this year? What's your opinion on the chart? Arbitrum, honestly, I'm not bullish on Arbitrum. I mean, until Robinhood actually starts to announce something with it, then I may be bullish on it. But it's just they have so many unlocks and everything, right? Like, that's just the only thing that has my hesitation. Also, you have this trend line that's yet to be broken. So if you're looking to buy some Arbitrum here, I mean, they had a big resistance here. So at the very least, I would look to buy it near 31 cents. And then below that, 26 cents for Arbitrum. Especially because, like you said, the stock RSI is overbought. Just like a lot of these altcoins, so probably a little pullback here for the next 2 or 3 days. And then we'll continue higher from there. Let's see. SWAR, I think Sol is going to make a bigger comeback than 2021 bull run. Hey, it's possible, right? SWAR, best long levels for Hype. I just mentioned it near 35.36 and 30.31. Junior, do you think Hype will reach $100 this year? I think it's possible. SWAR, also the M2 money supply has just gone up to 180K. Could you verify it? Yeah. M2 money supply is making all-time highs. Brian, best crypto streams. Appreciate you, Brian. SWAR says, honestly, Luke Belmar has just bought the best free crypto group and also the best experts like CryptoData. Thank you so much, and I'm able to trade or analyze charts much better than before. No hype. Hey, appreciate you, SWAR. It means a lot, guys. I hope you guys are learning a lot from the information I'm sharing. I try to share non-biased information. Obviously, I'm invested in some of the coins I'm talking about, but at the end of the day, I look for, based off the information and everything else I'm looking at, of why I think those are the best coins, right? And I give you unbiased data, I give you the facts, and that's the biggest thing, guys, is you got to ignore your emotions in crypto, otherwise you're going to go broke. That goes for revenge trading on leverage. If you lose a leverage trade and then you go double leverage to try to make the money back, you're going to blow up your account and lose all your money. I've done that multiple times. Everyone here has done that, I'm sure. Also, if you are FOMOing in at the top, you're going to lose money, right? Wait for the trades to come to you. There's always opportunities in the market, guys. That's the biggest advice I could give you guys. And also learn technical analysis. My third video on Gem Hunters, if you go to the YouTube channel, go to the live tab, is going to be technical analysis basics. Make sure you guys watch that if you haven't. Learn support resistance, you'll increase your trading profits 5x. Eric says gap in futures chart at 106.4K. Interesting. Let's look at the BME. Let's look at the CME gap. Let's see where we're at on that. All right, let's look at the hourly. So, ooh, interesting. Yeah, you called it. So let's go ahead and draw a line here. Thanks for the heads up. See, you guys are always catching me, always reminding me of these things that I miss. So appreciate that. Okay, so here we go. Okay, yeah, so we have a gap, like you said, around 106.4K. So this could be another reason why we could have a pullback. Because here's the thing. For anyone who doesn't know CME gaps, usually when a CME gap happens, it's because there's volume, there's prices that are bought when the market's closed, right? And so, or where there's just not enough supply. So basically what's happening here is eventually these do get filled. Now, they usually get filled within a week and a half. If not, then it usually takes a couple months. So this was on June 24th. A week and a half would be July 4th, July 5th, which would fall in line to us still declining until then. So yeah, great observation there. Appreciate that. Who was that? Eric, appreciate that. Arya says, what do you think of render? Render, I'm so on it, honestly. It's not the most bullish. Like for AI tokens, maybe virtuals on base, and then Ray, REI on base. Ray is probably one of the most bullish AI tokens, REI. And okay, let me go over REI, because honestly, one of my friends invested into REI for his foundation, and he has been making tons of money. Okay, like, I mean, look at this run that REI's had since April. It's been insane. It's been what, 15 to this is crazy. It's almost been a 10x since April. So all that to say, if you're going to buy REI, Ray, okay, here we go. So if you're going to buy it, 100 mil be a good level to buy. And then if you want to be a little more aggressive with the DCAing, 90 mil, and then 68 mil if it ends up going down there. But yeah, 100 mil should be a good buy level for Ray. Very good AI token, in my opinion. What do you think about Pangu? Pangu, I think it's good. I think there was a lot of pumping going on with it, right? A lot of people were talking about it, and it pumped pretty good. I'll go over the chart real quick, but I do have to go here fairly soon, guys. So let me just real quick go over that. Yeah, Pangu resistance at 1.48 cents. Look for resistance around there, 1.5 cents. And then support is going to be around 1.3. And then let's see. Actually, there's so much. Let me just delete all of these support levels. Okay, there. These are the main levels I'd look at. So 1.24 cents, 1.5 cents as resistance, and then another buy at 0.08. Those would be the levels. Just keep everything simple for Pangu. But yeah, stock RSI is oversold now, or overbought. I wouldn't be buying here. I'd be waiting for at least 1.24 cents. Luca, CryptoData, should I move my funds from Doge to ETH or Sol? I bought it at 10 cents. I'd probably move them to ETH. ETH and Sol, yeah. PK Work, what's your current opinion on silver? Bullish on silver. Digital Stoic got a 19 mil, nice. SWAR, what tacky keyboard do you use? I'm looking to swap my membrane keys to brown switch ones. Yeah, I use a Glorious gaming keyboard. I use the 100% model, so the one with the numpad on it. I use brown switches, yeah. Mechanical brown switches, they're the most tactile and they're the best. They're in between of like feeling smooth, but also having a good sound. So, Eric, Zeus is holding up strong. Yes, Zeus is very good. They also have some big updates coming this week. I think they have a Spaces as well. Thanks for reminding me. I'm going to be on their Spaces tomorrow. If you guys want to join me on that, make sure to follow me at the CryptoData. And I think there's a Spaces at 1 p.m. CST. It's 6 p.m. UTC time. So whatever 6 p.m. UTC is for you guys tomorrow, I'll be doing a live Spaces on Zeus. If any of you guys are going to be want to join that. Sam, from what MCAP do you use SR levels on memes? Because they don't mean much when a coin is 100. Yeah, 100%. I would say, I mean, here's the thing, right? You can still use SR lines on memes, but I would say 500K MCAP or higher. That's probably when you start seeing real money start flowing into it. And that's when you start looking at the 15-minute or the 1 hour chart. That's what I would say. The 5-minute, though, is still somewhat useful, especially if you're using the RSI for like oversold in the 5-minute for these memes. People still respect that, and they buy tokens when they get oversold on the RSI in the 5-minute. Quizmonk, little question, bro. I also looked at the min 2-to-1 risk reward, but I'm also working on the system with a 3 TP now. How do you manage this? Because sometimes the first second is not 2-to-1. Quizmonk, great question. At that point, you have a decision to make, right? At that point, you can either change and only have 2 take profits, one that starts at the 2-to-1 and then the next one that's like a 3-to-1, or you can widen those and have the first take profit at that a 2-to-1 level and then just keep the other ones even further than that, right? And so if I have a trade that's not a 2-to-1 for you, then and you have a different strategy, then just make the first take profit wherever that 2-to-1 level is for you, right? That would be the best thing I could say. Otherwise, just keep all three of them there and hope that it hits the third take profit and ends up averaging out to 2-to-1. That'd be my biggest advice. Polly Loco, with the pump fund launch soon, is that a coin to sell once it begins to hit the exchanges? Yeah. I mean, I think pump fund is going to be a sell the news event. Hype. Can you also do Brett? Let's see. Missed SPX. Could you have a look? Yeah, I mean, you can look on the recordings. The recordings will be there for SPX. Junior, do you have any knowledge of the CELA network? No knowledge of that. Does fundamentals in crypto matter anymore? I think it's Bitcoin versus memes. No, fundamentals 100% matter. I.e., look at the wars that happened with Israel and Ukraine. Case in point. Poggers, did you see the Apple news? I didn't. What's the Apple news, Poggers? John, does a swing long on Fartcoin make sense? It bounced on the 50 EMA and it's near support. It could make sense. Yeah, Fartcoin is pretty strong. Aculite, Rare is on support on the weekly. Nice. S4 just closed a client last week with July coming up. I cannot imagine how my life is going to look like. Awesome, S4. So happy for you. Mattis, hello. What do you think about AVAX for next month? AVAX, good support near $16. Buy it near 16, sell near 18 and 20. AB, is Doge still a thing? I'm 2025. Not as much. Avi, GM CryptoData, sorry for coming in late. I was in the abstract trenches. What's the XP thing in the live chat? Hey, awesome, Avi. Good to see you here. I'm not sure what the XP thing is. I think it's a new YouTube feature. Honestly, it's the first time I've seen it. Like, you have #1 near people as far as, you know, being top fans. So, like, obviously, Eswar talks a lot in here. Junior talks a lot. Yeah, I mean, and Brian, right? Like, you have a lot of people who talk a lot, and I'm Aculite. I'm guessing that's because then they just have their own thing. It's very interesting. So, it's a cool thing, though. You can see the people who are regulars. Eswar, good night, CryptoData. Thanks for the stream. It's like 12 a.m. my time. Maybe I should say GMD. Hey, good night, Eswar. Have a great night. Great sleep. John, thanks, Luke. Appreciate the informative. Hey, no problem, John. Sal, should I buy right now or wait for a dip? I'd probably wait for a dip. Brian, appreciate your peace, man. Bro, you please throw some light on gold. Yeah, I mentioned gold earlier. Support's going to be near that 3,100 to 3,000 level. Brian, CryptoData, go ahead. Appreciate you, Brian. So here, hey, Data, what's your knowledge on Hot 8? No knowledge on that. Honestly, looks like a scam coin, but I need to do more research into it. Real quick, I'll go over Brett and SPX because some people missed that earlier. And then we'll end the stream there. Again, guys, please like the stream if you haven't. It really helps spread Gem Hunters to the masses. If you want to join the premium group, definitely do so. It's $1 ETH for a yearly subscription. More DGen calls, meme coin calls, everything in between, 24/7 concierge service, live streams, etc. So good value there. But for Brett, looks like it may be breaking this downtrend, but it's not the best looking still. Support's near 350 mil, then 230 mil. I'm not in Brett. But yeah, those are levels if you want to look to get in. And then resistance is going to be probably major resistance, probably near 680 mil up here. And then besides that, 910 mil. And then looking at SPX that I went over. So SPX, again, it's rejecting right now. I wouldn't buy until 113. So that'd be my big level. And then I'll take profit around 135. So that's what I'll do for SPX. But glad you guys like the stream. Again, if you aren't following me, definitely do so at the CryptoData. So I try to post good content as well. I have a lot of stuff that I talk about as well. I talked about, again, the big bullish catalyst for July. So make sure you guys are checking that if you haven't. Then also in the description, if you haven't joined the Gem Hunters free group, definitely do so. We also have the paid group. Already mentioned the Discord, $1 ETH for a yearly. You get more leverage calls, meme coin calls, Gem reports, live streams, 24/7 concierge service, and more. Definitely look at that. And then also we have the BloFin referral link. Join that if you haven't. We provide a lot of leverage trades via BloFin. So you'll see those with the SOL long, the hype long. We've been making a lot of money in the free group and the paid group. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I appreciate all of you so much. Love you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day wherever you're at. And again, thanks for watching, guys.